Welcome back to page 121. Today's video is a little different. This video appeared originally on my Patreon channel a little while ago, and because it pertains to Battletech, specifically the Battletech magazine Battletechnology, I thought I'd go ahead and upload it here. I will do this from time to time with Patreon exclusive videos. I'll bring them over to the main channel, just if there's interest. And if you want to, help out on the Patreon, that's great. But the purpose of these videos is to give a reward to Patreons, and I try to do things that won't be necessarily in continuity with my regular channel. But this one actually applies now to the regular channel since I've launched Battletech, so I thought I'd go ahead and I'd just post this guy, and we could all take a look at Battletechnology, an excellent magazine that was published for a while for support of Battletech. Most of the stuff is no longer canon. I talk about that in the video, but it's still a lot of fun. So, little special event today, a former Patreon only video on Battletechnology, today on page 121. Welcome back to page 121. This Patreon video is for you guys, the guys who are actually helping support the channel and help it grow. Thank you guys, I appreciate what you do. Today we're going to take a look at some Battletech stuff, specifically the magazine of Battletech, Battletechnology. I was surprised Battletech didn't have more of a magazine presence. They popped up in Dragon now and again, and Challenge magazine now and again. I'm sure a few others. But they only had their own magazine for a limited time. Most of the stuff in Battletechnology has been decanonized. It's not official anymore. But it's still a fun read. So I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple of the magazines that I have. I'm just going to show them. I'm not going to go through each issue. Just talk about Battletechnology and just see what the magazine was and how it ushered in among other things, the era of the clans. So today on page 121, Battletechnology. Battletechnology, the magazine of combat in the 31st century. This was a nice magazine. I enjoyed when this was out. It was published from 87 to about 94. I don't have the very first issues because I wasn't playing Battletech. I didn't come in until the clans came in. I started playing Battletech in about 89. But I do have the Lost Issues special supplement they did, which reprints a lot of the earliest ones. This magazine kind of goes back to the Fourth Succession War, and that was where it started. So around 2028, Hans Davian marries Melissa Steiner, and they go ahead and they decide, or he decides, they're going to conquer the world. So here's the reprint of the first issue, and it's a nice magazine. It was, like I say, published from 87 to about 94, and it covered the Fourth Succession War and then the War of 30-39, very little bit. There was a 30-39 supplement out years ago. I didn't get it. More with the war with Kurita and the Federated Commonwealth then attacking, they're attacking the Kurita space and just that war. But it's a very brief war. And then we're pretty quiet until 3049, which is when the clans are making their first appearance. But this magazine, which by the way has been decanonized, it's not an official, nothing in here is official anymore. It's still fun, and it's still definitely good mood music. If you're in the mood to read something Battletech oriented, but you don't want to dive into a bunch of the source books or whatever, these are nice because they're a magazine. It bops around from different topics. You get some nice ads. I want you for Mech Force. Battletechnology News Service. This is a lot of the work in here is by the Keith brothers, famous for their work on Traveler before this, and they were big movers and shakers in Battletech when it was starting out. This article is by William H. Keith Jr. Pretty neat that they were doing this, and it's a good way to keep with the Keiths. They were very popular in Traveler in the early to mid 80s, and then they went over to Battletech and wrote Battletech pretty much almost to the end of the 80s. So it was a good way to stay with the Keith brothers. They're actually one of the reasons I went over to Battletech. So we got to go look at just regular sidearms in the Battletech universe, and lots of tips and lots of short fiction in these. I have no idea if the short fiction's been reprinted anywhere else or not. And this magazine purports to be from February of 3028. So this was a nice offering. It's one I still pull out when I get into the mood for Battletech. This is one of my first go-tos. Here you go. Here's some short fiction called The Fifth Kill by Captain Kenzie Schoenfeld, as told to Gregson Duvall. So just nice. It's good mood music. This aerospace fighter's up there. Here's a place, the Pleasure Planet. So just really nice offering. And went through several issues. Was published kind of sporadically, I guess quarterly. But I know I had a very hard time finding issues of this magazine, which was kind of unusual, being in the Chicagoland area at the time, and I still am. But we always were lucky because most of the stuff distributed around us. And I had, within 20 miles of my house, I had probably a dozen hobby stores that carried role-playing stuff or Battletech stuff. And these were hard to find. It was kind of strange. So I'm going to go ahead and just show a couple more issues of the Battletechnology. Hans Davian's new mech. So I have to admit, my Battletech chops are not what they had been. I'm not up on what every mech is and all that stuff. Janos Merrick was slain. I have not played Battletech. I've played a little bit with my group in the last year or two, but I haven't been seriously into Battletech in quite a few years. The important thing I'm getting to is issue 13, Mystery Attackers. I came in right about this issue, and this is when I started buying them off the shelf, and that's why I have a more complete run of the later issues. The Mystery Attackers, of course, would be the clans, but the first thing with the clans was that it was a teaser. Who were they? Were they aliens? Were they just amoeba inhabiting some battle mech and making it fire and things like that, which is a concept that the Keith brothers would explore in some later stuff in the Warstrider series. But it was just kind of interesting that they weren't telling us who they were. If you're not familiar with the Battletech universe, one thing they're famous for is that there are only humans in the Battletech universe, with one exception in a poorly written novel called Far Country. I don't recommend it. It's not very good, but there's an alien species in there that's kind of sentient. That's the only time I ever remember seeing any alien species really referenced in Battletech. And Battletech is all very human-centric, and all humans fighting humans in these big crunchy robots. So here we go. What hit us? It's the clans, of course. The clans were people from the Inner Sphere who, for various reasons that I might go into in future videos, fled the Inner Sphere being the political dynamo where Battletech happens. They fled the Inner Sphere, and we had the opportunity to improve their tech tremendously. They did so, and then they came back with a clan combat mentality and claimed that they were the rightful successors to the Inner Sphere, and the clans were going to come in and conquer everything. And even though the Inner Sphere warriors had inferior tech, through guile and pluck and luck, the Inner Sphere is able to prevail. So that's a very quick look at the clan invasion, elements of which are still in the current Battletech. So we have Princes in Peril in this issue, and then we get the Rosalhague falling. Rosalhague being conquered by, that's a smaller political entity in the Inner Sphere, getting conquered entirely by the clans. And now we start talking, who are they? And this went on for a while. It was about a year and a half before we really knew who and what the clans were when this was new. And it was pretty neat. And I have to say, I was not around for much of the old tech Battletech. I have a couple of books from that era. I never really played it until the clans were coming in. So for me, the clans were no big deal because they were status quo. I understand that there are a lot of people that feel the clans ruined Battletech, and I understand that. The tech got much more powerful. The story arcs became much more clan-oriented, and the clans kind of took things over, and a lot of the older purists didn't like it. I can't speak to that. I'm not an older purist in this particular game. I came in with the clans, I like the clans, and we play clans. The only thing I don't like about the clans is their rules for dueling, where it's always one-on-one until somebody betrays the battle, and we just play clan mechs versus whatever, and they just shoot each other. So there you go. These are all the ones I have up to issue 20. I think this went to 21 or 22. I don't think this was the last issue, but they were getting much harder to find by then. This takes us up to July of 2050 or 3053 in the Battletech universe, which has us getting close to the end of the Clan Wars. Now, the Clan Wars would simmer in the Cold War for a long time and then erupt periodically, and depending on which canon you're following in Battletech. For me, I went through the Civil War between the Federated Sons and the Commonwealth. Katrina Steiner abdicating, or not abdicating, but seceding from the Federated Commonwealth. So the Federated Sons are fighting them brother and sister. It's an interesting story arc, and that's where my storyline for Battletech ends. I didn't go any further because then we had a couple of years later, this hidden group comes out with a bunch of nukes and blows up the planets, and all the characters are dead, and they advance the storyline, and I didn't feel it was a good time for Battletech. And based on the fact that they completely kind of scrapped that and then kind of rebooted it, I don't think I was alone in that feeling. I have come back to Battletech after my disillusionment of that. I also played Battletech a lot at 3D House of Games in Mokina, and then when that group kind of broke up and then a year or so later the store closed, I never really had another Battletech group. My guys like playing Battletech, and we do play it once or twice a year, but like I said, I'm by no means the Battletech head that I was. So that's it, just a real quick look at Battletechnology magazine. I don't really think this is available anywhere. I apologize for that. I just thought you might want to take a look at it. I couldn't find much on availability for this, but maybe I just missed it. So if you want to take a look, that'd be great too. So I don't have any links I can post for it. So that's it for today from page 121. I appreciate you guys supporting my channel, and I appreciate the feedback I got as to some videos that you guys wanted. Right now, Champions and Battletech are the front runners, and those are going to be the ones I'm going to focus on for at least the immediate future. And of course, I'm open to other games as long as I have them and know them. So that's it for today on page 121. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.